Spinners, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. I am Coach Julia, and today I am going to be teaching you how to do a pancake spin. A channel member recently requested that I show some of the variations of sit spins. So there are a few main sit spin variations: the pancake, the tuck, and the broken leg. So today we're going to be going over that pancake spin. Now, before you learn a pancake spin, you really have to have a good, solid 1-foot spin. So I encourage you to work on that. Make sure you're not spinning up on your toe pick, you're on that rocker, you're really nice and centered, you have good core control. Once you've got that 1-foot spin down, we can start working on the pancake. The other thing I really recommend is you have a good stork spin. I have a tutorial for that, I'll post that down below. So a stork spin helps you get that hip flexibility, the hip mobility that you need for a good pancake. Optionally, if you're working on a sit spin, that's helpful as well, but you don't have to know how to do a good sit spin before a pancake. You need at least that 1-foot spin, and I recommend the stork spin. So the first thing we're going to do is head to the wall and do some stretching. I have a whole video of off-ice stretches you can do to help limber up your hips. You really need really flexible hips to do a good pancake. But here on the wall, there's two main stretches that I'm going to recommend. We're going to start with a side stretch, okay? This is going to help open up your hip lifting, right? So we're lifting that hip and opening it up. It's also going to help stretch your hamstrings. That's not super important for a pancake, but this stretch is good for opening that hip up. So I have both of my hips facing the wall, my toe facing the ceiling, both knees completely straight. Okay, now you can do some reaching for your toes. You can go across, just like if you were going to stretch out for spirals. You can slide out if you'd like, but the main thing is I want that toe up, hips forward, stretching out this hip. Okay, so that's the first stretch. The second thing I'm going to have you do is actually turn your hips towards your foot, and I'm actually sliding my hips towards my heel. So my foot is just resting here on the wall, and I know some of you, this may take a while to get to a point where you can do this. That's okay. I have really open hips. It's one of the areas that I am flexible. I can't do the splits very well anymore, but I can really open my hips. So I am just facing my heel, foot resting on the wall, standing leg straight, obviously my free leg bent. And this is giving me a really good stretch through my outer hip. Now I'm going to do this as a forward spin today, so I have my right leg up. But you can also do this as a back spin, so it's good to stretch that side as well. So let's just flip feet. We're going to start with our toe to the ceiling, all right? Opening that hip up a bit, getting myself a little bit of a hamstring stretch there. So for me, since I'm a counterclockwise spinner, if I was to use this leg on a pancake, it would actually be a back spin. Okay, now I'm going to pull that leg in, just trying to draw my hip as close to my torso as I can. Now, you don't have to be this flexible with your hip to do a pancake, but when you're ultra flexible, it makes it easier to get into the position. Okay. All right, so those are the two stretches I recommend here on the wall before we head out into center ice to do the spin. Now, before we do this as a spin, we're going to practice the position skating down the ice. I like to have my students try it this way so that they're really familiar with the position. Their muscles are used to getting into that position before they try it in a spin. So we're just going to get a little bit momentum going down the ice. Since I'm doing this as a forward spin, I'm going to stand on my left leg. I'm going to pull my right foot up until it's above my knee. So I have my heel resting on my quads. Now I'm going to bend my hips, bend my knee, bend my ankle, and press down until my torso is as close to my foot as I can get it. So you want your foot on your knee. You don't want it to be crisscross so that your shin or your calf is on your knee. All right, you want it to be your boot on the portion of your leg right above your knee. Let's go ahead and try that again. So we get a little momentum. I'm going to put my boot, not my leg, but my boot on the portion of my leg right above my knee. I'm going to rest it there as I bend down as close as I can to my knee. So I want my torso really close to my foot. All right, so you're gonna wanna feel that bend in the hips. You're gonna kind of stick your tush out, bend the knee, and bend the ankle. You want all three bent. All right, so we practiced that position gliding down the ice. We can start working on it as a spin. Now you can go into it directly, but I like to teach my students when they're first learning it to start with the stork spin so you can get your knee and your foot in the right position. So we're gonna try it that way today. So just to start, we're gonna go into our stork spin so that our foot is high enough. Okay, so I'm thinking about getting my heel up above my knee, okay? So my knee's here. I'm trying to get my heel right above it. So here's my quads. I'm gonna rest my skate on this section so that when I bend, my foot's just gonna be sitting there on top of my leg. We don't want it dropping down. We don't want it crisscrossing. We want it sitting right here on our leg, resting, okay? So the first thing I want you to do is start with a stork spin so that you know you have your foot high enough. From here, we can then start bending in the hip and the knee and pressing down into that pancake position. Now, you can step directly into the pancake. That's just fine. But sometimes when you're first learning it, it's hard to go directly in. So you can play with either entrance, but if it's a struggle to go directly in, start with a stork and then press down. When you're in this position, it's really helpful to think about kind of pointing your toe because that helps your foot hook onto your knee. So instead of having that foot flexed where your ankle is really straight on the back, try pointing your toe so that your foot hooks onto your leg a little bit. As you build speed, that little hook of your pointed toe helps you keep your foot in place and keeps it from flying out. So let's try this again. So we're gonna step into our stork spin, press down, stand up, check out. So one of the things you gotta be really careful about when you're doing this is not going up on your toe pick. All right, so make sure you're really bending that ankle and drawing it back under you the way you would with a sit. So you wanna feel both your hips, your knees, and your ankles all bending so you can keep that hip right in line with your heel. Okay, so your heel has to draw back. If you only bend your hip and your knee, your weight's gonna be really far back and you're not gonna be able to go very low. So hip, knee, and ankle all bending in any kind of a sit spin. One of the really fun things about a pancake spin is you can get super creative with your arms. And I have a number of different students who do different cool things with their arms that kind of put their own signature on this spin. So I want you to play around with your arms, but I have a few different students who are going to demonstrate this for you today with different arm positions. All right, skaters, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give us that thumbs up. And as always, I'm looking forward to reading all those comments in that section down below. If you're practicing this, post it up on Instagram, tag me at Skating Coach Julia so that I can see your progress and cheer you on. If you haven't done so yet, then hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell down in the corner so you can see all my videos when they come out. Happy skating, and I'll see you next time.